Dipendra Rastogi, and today we will discuss about creating, opening and closing a file. In the last video we have discussed about the file handling process. Okay, so the objective of this session is that creating and opening a file, file opening modes, error in opening a file, closing a file, end of file, and what is the structure of the general file program. And at last we will discuss about the example for this operations. So firstly we will discuss about the creating and opening a file. This is the first important section of this session. So whenever we have to perform any such type of operation related to the file handling, we will have to create some structure like that, or any type of data, that is we can get the information from that. So the structure you know very well, which have the type def, struct, and the last one is the file. Okay, so important section is that whenever we have to perform to creating a file, one file pointer is created, and this pointer will point out to the file operations. Like opening a file, then the pointer will point out to the file. A structure of the type file is associated with it, and a file pointer that point to this structure identify this file. That means this file will store into the hard disk at any drive, and this pointer will point out to this file. The important section for this operations is that, like name of the file, status, buffer size, what is this, current position, what is this, and at end of the file status. That means the file operation, the entry will be ending position, or you want to add the more and more data. So these are details are the hidden from the programmers, and the operating system is the take care for all these things. Important section is that these data like name, status, buffer size, current position, and of file status, all the detail, all the information are hidden from the programmers, and operating system will take care of all the things, and the pointer will point out to the specific position into the drive. Okay, now the next. So if I want to open a file, then we should know about a declaration of the file opening function. Basically a file is nothing but a space in a memory where you are storing the data. Okay, so in the declaration part have simple C file dot pointer fopen. Fopen is the function that is opening a file in different modes. This one, char pointer modes, and this the first argument will contain the file name, whatever you want to give, the .txt file or .dat file, it's up to you. Which type of file you want to create it, like character stream file, then you can use the .txt. If you want to make the binary file, then you use .dat format. But in the second operation is the most important, that key in which mode you want to open this file, like read mode, write mode, append mode, in which mode. It's an important section, that if you want to reading only the data, then you will have to write down the read mode operation only. Once the success is generated, means the file is created, then a file pointer type, what is a pointer of type file will be returned, and if any problem, any issue is occurring to create a file, then it returns null. So if you want to create a file, then you will have to fopen file, fopen, then this is the function which is with the use of this function we can create a file and we can open the file for the further operation like reading data, writing data, or appending the data. Okay, like in this example file pointer fp1, pointer fp2, etc. fp1 is equal to fopen my file.txt in write mode, fopen your file.dat in the read mode. So here fp1 will point out to the my file.txt, because fp1 will get the reference, get the address of this file. Because what is the means of pointer? Pointer is basically a variable that will contain the address of another variable or the file. So fp1 will get the address of the myfile.txt in write mode. That means the firstly this file will create it, and then you can write the data on that. This is also important one, that the file name underscore max character. It is a limited how much specific given to you want to the file, how many characters, like that. When the file is opening with the fopen method, name of file is not used in the program for any operation on it. You have just opened the file. Okay, you have just opened the file. Now the name of the file, it is not used by another program at the time when the file is opening for the any mode, right? Writing mode, reading mode, whatever. Once the file has been closed, then this file will be used for further operation for any such type of data. But in case the file is open, at the time no further operation you can perform on that while the file will not be closed. Okay, the reason behind that basically a file pointer point out this memory location where the file is saved, and the buffer specific area will contain all the data. Once the file has been closed, then the data from the buffer file will go to the file where the pointer to point out. So the name of the file sometimes known as external name, while the file pointer associated with it is known as the internal name. There are the two names. The first one, name of the file, is the external name, whatever mytext.txt. But if you are using into the program, then the file pointer is known as internal pointer, and it is understandable by the compiler. Okay. So what is the mode of the opening of file? Basically the important, there are three modes: write, read and append. The first one is the write mode. What is the means of write mode? If you want to open a file and you want to write into the file, firstly you will open the file, then you want to write into the file, then you will have to use the write mode. But if the file does not exist in the system, then firstly this file will be created and the data will be entered by the file pointer operation. But important section is that if any previous data is located into the file, then it will be erased and the new data entered into the file. But if you want to think that I need the previous my data, then we will go to the append mode. The property of append mode is that if the file does not exist, then this mode create a new file, and if the file already exists, then the new data will be added at the end of existing data. In this mode, the data existing in the file is not erased like write mode. And the third one is the read mode. Read mode is only for the reading purpose. You are unable to write any data and append any data operation in that. If the file does not exist, then it will return as null. So to perform the reading operation, it is important to understand that the file which you want to open must be exist. Then you can get the information from the file. Okay, now there are three more modes, and it is a combination mode like that. You can say write plus read, read plus write, and append plus operation. So W plus, that means the write plus, this one, see, W plus read, write plus read. So what is the characteristics of this mode? In this mode, the same as write mode operation, but in this mode you can also reading operation and modifying the data. Okay, if that doesn't exist, if the file doesn't exist, then the new file is created, and if the file exists, then the previous data is erased. This is a property of the write, and you can modify the new data. The previous data will be erased, you can write the new data. With the use of this mode, you can also read operation perform. But if you are going to read plus write, in this mode, we can also write and modify existing data, just like write plus read. The file to be opened must exist. This is the important point. This mode will not create any type of new file. You will have to create a file, and whenever you want to use this file, that must be exist, and the previous data of the file not be erased. This mode is to perform reading data, and also you can add new data, and this data is add at the end of the existing data. This mode is also called the update mode. And the next one is the append plus read. The same like the all characteristics of append is implication in this mode, plus you can read the data. That means with the use of A, whatever the characteristics of A, that is implementation in append mode, plus you can read all the data. But if you are going to only A, then you are unable to read the data. If you want to read plus append, then you can use the A plus mode. Okay. So this is a very simple example for mode of opening a file. In this simple example here, a file pointer fp is point out data.txt, but what is the mode is write mode. In this mode, the file firstly is created data.txt. This is okay, and now this fp will point out this file created in same location where your code is saved. Okay, with the use of this type of operation, this type of addressing operation, the file created in same location where your code is saved. But if you want to save the file into different location, at that time you will have to give the proper path for that. This like you will have to give the proper path for that. Okay, 1 minute. So like that, D drive data.txt, then the file will be saved into the D drive. Okay, now if you want to perform, the file is saved in terms of the binary mode or text file mode, yani T. So for that purpose, you will use the WB like that, AB plus A plus B, RT plus R plus T like W. Binary file open in write mode, in append mode, text file open in update mode. So whatever you want to perform, like if you want to create a binary file, then you will have to use the B, WB, AB plus, whatever. Okay. Now another important one is that error in opening a file. So before explaining this, I am just explain about what is the major reason to generate an error if you want to open a file. The first one is that if you want to try to open a file in a read or update mode, but the file doesn't exist or you do not have any permission to file, at that time that will generate an error. The second one is the most important. If you have no space in your disk and you don't have the permission to delete that file. Okay, and the third one is the file is already exist, and if you want to rename that but you don't have any permission to delete that file. And the last one is the operating system limits the number of files that can be opened at the time. Okay, so in that operation, if you want to open this file into write mode, but FP have not any such type of address, then it will contain a null. It will contain a null. That means this fopen function will return the null that is getting by the FP. Now null equal to null, and what is the value? Error in opening file, and exit one. Your program will be exit from that. Okay. Now another one important file, closing a file. That this is the one operation is that whenever you want to perform the fopen operation, your file will be open for the further file operation and whatever you want to do. But when the connection is lost and your file is not successfully closed, then all data which you want to enter, that is lost by you. What is the reason behind that? All the data will be exist into the buffers associated for that, and when the file will be closed, then all the data which is into the buffer, that will be stored into the file as an input and output stream operation. Okay, so once see, on closing the file, all the buffer associated with it are flushed. All the data that is in buffer is returned to the file. The buffer, basically, what is the rules of buffer? Buffer is a small specific area where the data will be stored, and once the buffer has been filled, the data will be shifted into the file. And if you want to close the file, then all the data which is specific into the buffer specific file, then all the data will be stored into the file. Well, all the files are closed automatically when the program terminates normally, but sometimes it is necessary to close the file for fclose function. What is the reason? When if you want to perform, for example, I just want to tell you that if you want to perform the two type of operation, once you want to write the data and then you want to read the data, then your file will be open into two modes. So firstly, you will have to use the write mode, then you will have to read mode. If you have opened the file into the write mode, then you will have to close this, and again you will have to use the file into the read mode, and then you will use for the further operations. So it is not necessary to close all the things, but sometimes it is necessary to close the file by the fclose function. Okay, fclose return end of file on error and 0 on success. For end of file, the value is -1 always. If you have the more than one files you have opened, then you will have to close like that, fclose fptr1, fclose fptr2, or you can use the fclose all end bracket void. This is another method which you can use to closing all the pointers, that is all the files. This is the general structure of the file, like file pointer fp is equal to fopen, then file name, and then mode of this file, and after that you will have to use the fclose and then fp. In this program we will discuss about the fopen operation and then fclose operation, and we are going to writing a data with the use of fputc function. This fputc function we will discuss later. Now still we have a int I, file pointer fptr, we have a character function, this one, which contains only 50 characters. Character str, welcome to file handling operations. I have created a one file, fputc_test.txt. What is the mode? Is the write mode. Now this is the string, this is the character string. So from I equal to 0, stri \n, while you are getting to \n, then now I++. With the use of fputc function, we will get one by one all the character from the string, and this character is stored into the file which is pointed by the fptr, and this file is this one, fputc_test.txt, and the location of the file where your program is saved. So this is the simple function method, simple operation that where how to open a file, how to write a file, and how to read, how to specific closing the file and all. And these are the references: Yashwant Kanitkar, Authentic Guide for the C Programming Language, or you can use the C in depth, is the best book for the referencing operation. Thank you to all of you to listening me.